out there in the back. What is he putting?
What is that out there? That's a clapper clicker.
Is that what that is? A clapper clicker?
So you don't have to clap your hands? Take your glasses off. He's got his dark glasses on.
All right.
Okay.
There he is.
We've got a
Good
pretty
morning.
good-sized audience this morning. Yeah. Did you plant your yucca?
Don't start it with that yucca thing.
Yesterday, somebody from we had a huge audience. We did the health show yesterday, health forum. And somebody from the audience came up to me afterwards and gave me 2 little seeds, right? And all wrapped up in a little plastic thing. And they said, well, I want to give you and Nikki a couple of seeds, yucca seeds, so you can plant a tree and grow a yucca tree. And I said, what does a yucca tree look like? Now I know what a yucca. Yeah, kind of. They kind of go yucca, don't I?
I don't know. But what did you ask him?
So I said, how do you plant it? And I'm getting involved in it. And then I said, now, wait a minute. This isn't a joke, is it? I said, because you're not giving me something I'm going to plant and be arrested for, like pot. Don't. I just have a funny feel. And, you know, you do. You think, well, this could be his idea of a funny thing.
So
however, if you're watching, whoever you are out there, I did keep them, and I'm going to.
You can have them.
You do not
I'll let you plant them, but I said if they grow up to be a lovely tree, then I want mine back.
And if they grow up to be marijuana, I got 2 acres, we'll bury it.
I was going to say, I'll visit you in jail. I don't have any problem, you know. And I did not sleep at all last night. How did you last night?
I slept fine. The thunderstorm woke me up, but you don't like...
I slept outside.
You slept outside? You just took your little cot and went outside?
I slept in the, I love it in Michigan, they call them Florida rooms. It's a porch. You know, it's an enclosed porch, but they got these fancy names for them. So I got this Florida room, enclosed porch, where I dragged my little pillow out there, and me and Baby Cakes and Nelson slept out there last night, because it was just too hot. I haven't put my little window air conditioner in yet.
Do your cats notice the heat, too?
Well, I guess so, because one threw up a fur ball this morning.
Oh.
And I want to think that was, you know, and I love it. They always do it right in the line of where you're walking.
Oh, absolutely. And on the best part of the carpeting.
Oh, I loved it.
If there's floor, they'll do it on the rug.
I was real happy that he did do it on the linoleum floor this time. But, I mean, between sleeping outside, on the couch, with a crook in my neck, and then fur balls under my feet, I'm not real.
Don't mess with her this morning.
You know, I said, I'm not ready for this. I know we're not supposed to complain because it's been horrible and we want... But could we have spring first?
No, not in Michigan.
Could we have it before we have...
you know, you're from Virginia. No, it's hot down. Don't tell me it's wonderful and you get a breeze from where?
From the water. The peninsula. Tide water. She's not believing
down there. It's hot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. So why you grew up down there? Why are you noticing the heat here?
Something. I don't know. I'm old. It's worse now. Something. I can't take it.
What is that underneath your eye?
What is it?
What is that underneath?
Is it a cootie?
No, that's a little private joke between the makeup guy and me.
Is it something? I asked him, I said, what's under my eye? And he said, wrinkles, darling.
No, we weren't kidding me.
I couldn't believe it. He just hollered like, wrinkles. What do you think it is? And I'm like, excuse me.
I don't see a wrinkle. I'm looking right at you,
10
and I don't see a wrinkle.
You better not be able to see one right about now. But UFOs, do they have wrinkles? Or no.
Maybe those, well, I noticed there was a blonde one.
You did notice that.
Yeah, there was a picture, and I said, there's a blonde one. Alien.
And you said something about they must have good hairdressers.
They must.
See, she did. She did. So we are ready to be open-minded this morning.
UFOs and aliens and experiences. I think we have one non-believer in this audience. And we have one lady who wrote the article, or wrote an article about them. She's kind of on the borderline. She doesn't believe they're crazy, right? A lot of people do.
Middle ground.
Okay. So we'll be back with UFOs and alien abduction.
Are you and your husband thinking of adopting a child?
Then join our studio audience and learn how you can beat those long waiting lists the agencies have.
For tickets, call us at 827-9336.
It's 1994. It's the deal of the year at the Olive Garden. A monumental, mouth-watering meal for 2 for only $19.94. Choose an appetizer for 2 delicious entrees from a generous selection of your favorites, plus all the breadsticks and fresh soup or salad you can eat. Then, cap off your meal with a cup of coffee or tea. An abundant, mouth-watering meal for 2 for $19.94 at the Olive Garden. It's the meal of the year, but only through May 15th. Hurry!
Being a mom doesn't come with instructions. It's about making choices.
A message to moms during spring savings days at Warehouse Club.
choosing babysitters, books, what to feed them. It's choosing Jif. Jif tasted more like fresh roasted peanuts, more than any leading brand I've tried. Now we wouldn't have it any other way. Make your best choices during spring savings days at Warehouse Club. Choose Jif. For more fresh roasted peanut taste, choosy moms, choose Jif.
The American Lung Association of Michigan is now accepting applications for campers and volunteers for Camp Sundeer. The free week-long camp for children with asthma ages 9 through 12 will be held June 19th through the 25th. For more information, call 559-5100.
Your family may not know that Abso-Pure spring water contains no artificial anything and is naturally good because it comes from our own deep source. Your co-workers may not be aware that we test our water daily to ensure its wholesome quality. And you may not know that Abso-Pure delivers free. But one thing that everyone knows is that Abso-Pure tastes great.
Naturally, Abso-Pure. Yes, it is. It's so clean, Abso-Pure. By blue blockers. Everybody. Blue blockers. It's my day in the sun, at home or on the run. I know for me, there's second to none. Everybody. My blue blockers.
Blue blocker sunglasses are available at all Meijer stores and service merchandise.
Well, ever since humans crawled out of a cave and looked up in the sky, mankind has wondered, are we alone in the universe? Our first guest feels he knows the answer to that question, and the answer is a resounding no. Meet David Jones. David is a successful healthcare executive who says aliens have been abducting him since the age of 6. He believes aliens helped destroy his marriage and ruined his life. Good morning, David. Welcome.
Good morning, David.
How long, have you always felt that you were abducted by aliens?
I know when it started, when I was at the age of 6, and ran from the time I was 6 years old to up to 17. And then between that period of time, there was some incidents that happened, and then about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, the incidents started happening again.
What incidents are we talking about? What happened at 6 years old?
Okay, well, to start off with, I'll just give you an idea how it all started. I was 6 years old. I was raised on a dairy farm in Missouri. My father was a dairy farmer. And my older sister, who's 2 years older than I am, was playing on the back porch. It was an open back porch on the farmhouse. And my father was coming in from milking. And I had gone off of the porch to greet him as he was coming up from the barn. And as I come off the porch, I looked to my right to the back side of the house, and I saw this horrifying face on the wall of the house. And it devastated me. I'll never forget it. The big eyes, and the eyes just actually started to penetrate me. I looked at my dad. My dad had no type of reaction. He was just continually to come in towards the house. And when I looked back, then all of a sudden I was consumed and paralyzed by this being. But the only thing I could remember was the face on the wall. Then later on, we went into the house and we had dinner. And one of the comments that my dad made at that time was he couldn't figure out where 30 or 35 minutes went. It was gone.
And you had not mentioned this to him at this point? You had not mentioned that you saw the face? Or
that's right. I did mention to the face, and he said he didn't see anything. And my older sister didn't see anything.
But you saw, so you were the only one that saw the face?
Right. And he was, as a matter of fact, he got a little comical because he was laughing. He said, "What are you so scared of?" And I said, "I saw a face on the wall." And I said, "Did somebody have a Halloween mask on or what?" I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
You know, I've been asked, was it a dream?
At 6 years old. I mean,
yes.
You'd be very impressed with that. And now, did he say to you, when you told him, did you tell him, though? Did you tell him this?
Oh, yes.
And what did he say to you?
Well, he just laughed it off.
Laughed.
Because he just thought it was something I imagined or something that didn't really happen. But it did happen. And one of the things about this whole thing and getting into this, I started 2.5 years ago seeking what happened to me. And simply it was my ex-wife that started me doing this because once we decided there was other incidents in our marriage that wasn't working out, And we decided, for our children's sake, it was best that we just parted ways. But one thing, she made a comment to me. She said, there's something in your life, David, you have not faced. She said, I know that you had to be a beautiful and wonderful child, but something happened to you when you were a child, and you have not faced it. You were either abused or something. And I know I wasn't abused. I had wonderful parents. They did not abuse me. But I had to go after that face on the wall. I had to go find out what that really was. And when I did, it was amazing, because what happened was I was playing racquetball with a gentleman who's just a general counselor. And so I asked him one day after playing a few games of racquetball, I said, his name's Dan, I said, Dan, let me ask you a question about hypnosis. If you know something happened to you, but you can't recall what it was, through hypnosis, can you recall these incidents? And he said, yes, you can. You can get at what your memory doesn't remember. You can bring it back. You can bring it back into your consciousness. So I made an appointment with him, and we sat down, and these things started coming out. All of a sudden, I saw what the face was. The face was a gray body. I mean, it was a gray being with large eyes, little nostril holes it was a very little symbol for a nose, a little bitty mouth, and a very narrow chin. And it was about 4.5 feet tall. But then...
What kind of clothes do they wear?
I've never seen them really clothed. I just seen them in gray bodies. I've never seen any type of...
I saw the drawings. I saw the drawings, and they don't look like they have clothes on.
No.
They look like little sort of pot-bellied people.
That's exactly right. And their head is large in proportion to what their body is.
Yeah.
But what happened was there was not only one face, there was 3 of them. And what I found out, and going through Dan, I went to him 3 times. And it finally came to the point where Dan said, I can't help you. It's kind of like going to your family doctor, and your family physician says, well, you know, this is something I can't help you with. Right. You got to go see a specialist. Then he told me about the article in the Wall Street Journal about Dr. Mack at Harvard University. He said, you know, if you can get to Dr. Mack, then I think you can find some answers. But he said, I can't help you with this. This is beyond anything that I know. And I really appreciate that, because he didn't try to discredit it. He didn't try to say, well, you were crazy or put me in a category, because he couldn't. He didn't understand it.
But, David, all this time that like you were growing up, you had different incidences, didn't he? You had different incidents that happened. Now, did people think you were crazy? I mean, did your family think you were crazy? Or did people want to, I mean, I think your wife had you committed at one time.
We fast forwarded through all of these sightings and got into your ex-wife. She did have you committed at one time.
Yes, she did, and it was amazing because, but this was all because I had saw something. She had mentioned it we were going to counseling for the marriage. She had mentioned it to the counselors. The counselors put pressures on my doctor, and they admitted me that night. And it was very interesting. I really met some very interesting people in that place. But what was
they let you go.
Because the next morning, the head psychiatrist of the hospital came in. And it was at 4:30 in the morning. And after 40 minutes spending time with him, he called my family practice doctor, and he says, what the hell is this man doing in here? He's very well connected, and he has no reason for being in here. Very angry, very upset. And to prove it to my ex-wife, I went through counseling with him for 3 months, and finally he said, David, there's not a whole lot that I can do for you. But one thing that I did not do, I didn't tell him that I had this real internal problem, that something happened to me as a child, and on through my teenage years. And it was amazing, because after I went through all this, I found out that there was many, many encounters. But and the neat thing.
What, did they do anything bad to you? I mean, what did they do to you? I think we read that they took sperm.
Oh yes.
Samples.
Right. The first part of I would used to go back in the fields and play by myself. I was a very loner as a child, and one of the things when I was a small child, and this was amazing, that this kind of a log type fort just appeared. My dad even. John Mack went down, and Dr. Mack went and saw my parents.
Which we're going to meet later on this
year. Yes, and talked to them. And he also told Dr. Mack, he said he don't know where this thing appeared from. I didn't build it. He didn't build it. We don't know where it came from. But for 3 or 4 years, I would go, and that's where the encounters would happen. And I had some wonderful encounters with these 3 grays. But what happened was I'd never seen a ship, until I was about 11 years old. And then, at that time, they introduced me to a ship. That was wonderful. I thought I was just in a different world with these beings. And then what happened was, and it was a time when my dad saw a ship land on the farm.
So he saw it too.
He saw a ship land. Oh yeah, we all saw that where it landed in the wheat field, and there was a big circle. The cattle all ran through the barbed wire fences. Everything was frightened. I know that morning something went wrong in regards to their ship, because there was something happening that usually the animals and everything, you don't see that they have a sense of this. But that time they did. And it was frightening for everybody. As a matter of fact, the neighbors, a couple other neighbors that saw it, and everybody just decided, hey, we didn't see anything.
We're not going to talk about it.
Right. We didn't see anything. We're going to deny it. And for over 30 years, it's been denied.
You've got some other interesting stories, but we've got to take a break right now.
Yeah, we're going to meet a man who claims to have been abducted by aliens over 70 times. Top that. Stay with us. We'll be back.
It's Company's Spring Bridal Extravaganza. See dozens of the latest and gorgeous bridal fashions, many of them for under $500.
Plus how to save big on the rest of your wedding. So grab a couple of friends and come on down. Free prizes for everyone in the audience.
Tickets are free. Just dial 827-9336 now.
Attention students, a few brief scheduling messages. The bake sale begins at noon. There will be a pep rally at 4, and this year's big game starts at 7. Oh, by the way, the cafeteria is now serving Edie's cookie dough ice cream.
Edie's. Evidently, it's, not your normal ice cream.
Ethel, we gotta get away.
When you gotta get away, call us for a great Ohio getaway. To get your free Ohio Pass travel planner and these money-saving coupons, call 1-800-BUCKEYE for a great getaway in Ohio.
To give you the most effective toothpaste possible, we've made a lot of innovations to Crest. Now there's a new innovation that helps needy kids, the Crest Care Certificate. For everyone you send in, Crest will give 50 cents to the Caring Program for Children to help pay for medical and dental benefits. So look for Crest at Kroger and help make a big change in a child's life. Crest, the dentist's choice is the caring choice. Now at Kroger.
Good morning, John Kelly in the Channel 7 Action Newsroom, and we're live. The state has ruled the Kevorkian trial stays in Wayne County. It resumes today as the defense presents its side in last year's death of Thomas Hyde. The Parents Alliance to Repeal Tenure has begun a petition drive in Michigan. They need 250,000 signatures by June 1. A pair of Oakland County teens will go on trial on charges of sex with a 14-year-old. A major storm is dumping several feet of snow in the Dakotas. There are at least 9 dead in a suburban Dallas tornado. And here, warm again, the chance of some rain, not bad. Plants and flowers. John Kelly, back to company.
Well, our next guest says he has seen 7 alien types during his 70-some abductions. Please welcome Bill to the show. Bill, you don't want to use your last name. Why don't you want to use your last name?
Well, one of the reasons is because I'm in business.
You're local?
Yeah, I'm local.
Okay.
And I've had threats from the fundamentalist Christian right. They tend to view this as something negative, something evil, something satanic.
That ever happened to you, David?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I came from a very strong fundamentalist background. As a
Correct.
matter of fact, I was a deacon in the church and having to deal with this. And that was very devastating. And things that I found out through my experiences, well, the reason when I was 24 years old, I was told I was demon-possessed. They prayed for me. They anointed me with oil and said, okay, the demons are removed. And the one thing that amazed me was they said the demons threw me to the ground. The demons didn't throw me to the ground. They shoved me to the ground. There was no control of demons. It was the two people that prayed for me that shoved me down.
Okay.
So,
when did it all start for you, Bill? Can you remember?
Between the age of 5 and 7. Okay. Again, I'm originally from Ohio, Akron, Ohio, and there was a place that I usually went to, a creek where you go to catch frogs, that type of thing. I was sitting there on a beautiful day, just meditating, looking at the water, and all of a sudden a small being, diminutive type of being, approached me on my left, and I didn't think anything of this. I didn't even acknowledge his presence. Stood there for a few minutes. Then he called my nickname. He knew my nickname. And he approached me, reached into his garment, which was like an off-white, with his right hand, and pulled something out that was akin to a piece of white gum. And he led me to, communication was telepathic. He led me to believe that if I took this, communication would ensue. It would be much easier to communicate. I took it. He began to talk to me. He talked to me about my past life, all right?
Your past life?
Yes, not this life. He talked to me about the present and the ultimate future. And he told me many different things that I forgot for a period of 14 years. And 14 years later, I was sitting around talking. All of a sudden, like a bolt from the blue, this came back to me. I was not supposed to remember. This is something common throughout the experience. You will remember when the time is at hand. That seems to be a common phrase. When the time is right, you will recall everything.
Can you describe what they looked like? And you brought some little sketches.
I brought some sketches. There is no single type. There's more than one different type.
And what are we seeing now?
Okay.
The first seems to be like a woman and a child, or is this?
This is me as a
child.
child.
That's you. Okay.
All right, and this was an experience that I had.
This was the blonde woman.
This is the blonde that you were talking about, blonde.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, this experience I had when we first moved up here in '72 from Ohio. I remember standing in the dining room. My brothers, I saw them froze in the living room, and two beings entered the house quietly, almost as if they floated in. One was male, one was female. And I can't remember anything about the initial experience, you know, when they entered and what happened. I can only remember the tail end of the experience, and that's what I drew right here. She was saying goodbye to me, and I felt a connection with her, very powerful connection, as if I had met her before. There was a loving connection, whereas the male stood behind her, and he was negative. It's like good guy, bad guy type thing. You feel a connection with one and a repulsion to another. This is for a reason. This is to win your loyalty. This particular experience, I was completely paralyzed. You see the diamond-shaped craft. There were 3 mechanical type beings standing behind the craft.
Do all the spaceships or all the ships look alike?
No,
no. Craft?
No.
They look different?
There is variable
really?
as
airplanes, right?
Oh, yeah. I've seen craft that look anywhere from, like our landing pods, to small saucer-shaped craft. Now you can see this is the type of being. Its head appears like it can't be supported by that body. The body is very frail, very fragile. This is one of the reasons they don't want to meet us on equal terms. They have to maintain superior mind control, especially with the male strain of the species.
Who told you that?
One of the beings. They gave me 3 reasons, because one of my problems is not being able to exercise my free will in their presence. That's a problem. All right, anything that denies your free will is a negative in my book. Why can't we meet on equal terms? All right, so I posed that question to them. He gave me 3 answers, very calm, very sure of himself, all right, very hypnotic. You want to believe what these beings tell you. One of them is technical. They cannot conduct this type of procedure while you are cognizant of the events. Secondly, it's a physical thing. They fear the male strain of our species. That's the term he used, because we always react in a violent manner, unlike females and children. And it's ironic because children tend to recall these experiences consciously. They're not suppressed. The memory's not suppressed. The threat isn't there from these beings.
Well, do you find as an adult you have repressed? You have. That's what
there's quite a bit that's repressed.
Because you don't want to even believe it yourself.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe here. I'm in search of the answers.
So what kind of lessons have both of you feel you've gotten from this? You know, what's the point? What are they trying to say?
Well, the thing is, I think what you have to look at, and a lot of people try to put this into things that we've seen in terms of, like, Star Wars, Star Trek, if they're out there in space. That is not where they come from. They come from a total different dimension. One of the things, if you ever watch a UFO film and how they can leave real quick, I mean, they're just gone, they're a different energy than what we are. And what they do is they shift their energy and they go through the veil. Just like when we die with our own energy, and this is what I've learned, is my energy will go through the tunnel to the light. But it's like being recycled to come back. Like Bill said he remembered a past life. I remembered several past lives. And what I did with these beings, they show me that I've been in the past and I'm going to the future. But there's other universes that lie on before us. If you think about the Bang theory, one of the things that they showed me was that was energy which we survived that came out of a dead universe. This Earth is dying. Somebody asked me yesterday, did they show me something about what's happening to the Earth? The Earth is a living being. And one of the things about Earth Day, we really should be celebrating it because it's going away from us.
Okay.
But we don't have to fear that, simply because we go forward with our lives, we go forward in the universe, and we don't stay stuck. We keep going forward, and that's one of the things I've learned, because even as I pass away, I don't die, I just rebirth onto the other side and come back. And those energies stay with me.
Well, coming up next, the Harvard psychiatrist who believes alien abductions are possible. Please stay with us. Want to help other women win the divorce war? If you planned before you filed for divorce, we want to hear what you did. Did you squirrel away money in a secret place? Put the house in your name? Spy on your spouse?
If you beat your spouse to the punch, we want to hear from you. Call 827-9336.
Once in your lifetime comes the magic of truly great music. For the first time ever, Time Life Music brings you Piano by Candlelight. Loved by millions around the world, these are the greatest romantic melodies of our time. Piano by Candlelight. Lush, unforgettable music. Your favorite songs from Broadway. Award-winning Hollywood hits. Plus today's most popular melodies. Piano by Candlelight has received gold and platinum awards, and now you can own this magnificent collection yourself. 40 of today's most memorable and relaxing hits. More than 2 full hours of fabulous music on 3 cassettes for only $19.99, or 2 compact discs for just $24.99.
To order Piano by Candlelight, use your credit card and call 1-800-641-6611. That's 1-800-641-6611. Or send $19.99 for 3 cassettes or $24.99 for 2 compact discs. Plus $4 shipping and handling to Piano by Candlelight, Department 1, Richmond, Virginia.
Well, we've heard some pretty fantastic sounding stories here today. Now meet the psychiatrist who has analyzed David's story and many others. He believes them to be truthful. Abduction is Dr. John Mack's new book on human encounters with aliens. Welcome, Dr. Mack, this morning.
Thank you.
And of course, we want to know how a Harvard psychiatrist, Pulitzer Prize-winning author, comes to believe in aliens. And this is pretty recent for you, just in the last
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
How have you come to be doing this kind of work and a believer now?
Well, sometimes I have to pinch myself to believe it's true that I've actually gotten myself into this complicated situation, but It all began about in January of 1990 when I first met Bud Hopkins and heard about the people who've had these experiences. And what he told me, and what I've learned in greater depth from the 90 or so people I've worked with, is that there's a group of people estimated to be between hundreds of thousands and several million in this country alone who describe very similar stories, similar to what Dave and Bill have told you about, that they're people of sound mind. I've not been able to find any kind of psychiatric situation that could remotely explain what this is about, who describe in great detail, doubting it themselves, that they've been taken on by some kind of energy through the walls of their home or the doors of their car, or in the case of children from a playground, up into some kind of craft by these humanoid beings that you heard described earlier, and in the craft subjected to a variety of procedures, examinations, staring, and a whole set of reproductive-like procedures, as well as being shown either through telepathic communication or through visually on monitors, like television-like monitors, scenes of the devastation of the earth, which reach them profoundly emotionally, and as you heard described earlier, come away with a powerful sense that the earth is in its last throes as a living organism. And these stories are very consistent. The people themselves are as surprised as those of us who first hear about it. And I have, as I said, I've tried to find every possible explanation that I could. A theory to account for this has got to deal with the following fundamental matters: the profound consistency of these stories among mentally healthy people, the occurrence of the phenomenon reported by children as young as 2 or 3 years old, the association with UFOs that will be independently viewed in the community even when the experiencer hasn't seen the UFO, and these cuts, scoop marks, lesions that appear on their bodies. So any theory has to deal with all of those dimensions.
That's what we wanted to know next. You know, what are the commonalities that you find among the experiencers? And that's what you call people who have experienced...
Yeah, or abductees, or whatever. They're different terms.
The scoop marks, are there other physical or emotional commonalities that they seem to share?
Yes. First, the physical elements here. And again, they're sometimes subtle, because, so if you have a critic, for example, will say, well, nobody's proved this, you know, and it's subtle. It enters our world. We heard earlier that it has a kind of deceptive quality. Families don't want to see this. The people don't want to believe it themselves, but it's not like gross, like they don't, you know, have a huge cut that just like bleeds all over the place, although Dave did have quite a serious lesion in his mouth, which he may tell you about. But there are cuts, scoop marks. Sometimes in the same community, 5 or 6 people will have like 8 little lesions on their arms or legs, which appear when the UFO came close, which all of whom have been experiencers, or all of whom have been abducted at that time. So, and you have burned earth patches where the UFOs landed. Women experience pregnancies being taken. So there are these physical, or people are witnessed to simply be missing when, like Dave described, that 40 minutes of time that his father couldn't account for. Families can't find children during those times, or children can't find their parents. So there are actual physical absences that occur during those periods. So that's the physical dimension of this, which goes along with the psychological aspect of it.
What lesions did you have on your body?
Well, I've got 2 scoop marks that happened when I was young, but the one that John's talking about in terms of the incision in my mouth, or the cut in my mouth, it was just this past early fall. What happened, I was out playing golf, came in from playing golf, and for the 3 days, this soreness was in the bottom of my mouth, and I had this white piece of skin across the bottom of my mouth. And what I did, part of it was loose, so I took a pair of tweezers and pulled it, and it just came open. To make a long story short, I went to my internist. He looked at it. He said, have you had mouth surgery recently? And I said, no, not at all. And he said, well, what did this? Now, for me to inflict something on myself, I'll give you an example. My wife went through 3 C-sections, which I was in. All 3 I passed out. Needles I pass out with, blood and I pass out with. I had a very difficult time dealing with this, but 5 days later, after, he couldn't sew it up, So 5 days later, the skin graft was back across it, and 3 days later, it all healed up. But I know when I went back through a regression, I found out what happened. They came in, they cut it open. In the bottom of my mouth, they took out a small cylinder-like type gray tracking device, which they use, and I believe that they use that to track your vibrations of your own body. And when it came back open, they came back again and sealed it back up.
We're going to talk to Bob Peterson here. You don't quite believe in abductions, do you?
Well, I've had a number of clients.
We're going to talk to you in the next segment, okay? That's my way of going to break. And we're going to talk to also a sociologist who says this is all nonsense.
Nikki, there's treasure in your Detroit Free Press TV book.
Where?
Well, in the TV book treasure hunt game now through May the 8th.
What kind of treasure?
TVs, VCRs, trips. Grand prize is a trip to Chicago to see the Oprah show.
Oh, she's my favorite. Next to you, that is, Marilyn. So, how do I play?
Well, you can't play because we're announcing the big winner on Company May the 27th.
Oh, well, if you want to play, check your daily Free Press or the TV book for complete rules and watch Marilyn and me on Company May 27th and every day 9 a.m. live on 7.
Right.
Attention, married ladies and gentlemen. Stop what you're doing and listen to this announcement. American Vacation Ventures is making this very special offer to the first 10 callers married and over 25 to dial 1-800-775-TRIP. You'll receive 2 dream vacations. Discover the magic of a romance cruise, plus 4 nights accommodations in Freeport, Bahamas. You'll also receive round-trip airfare for 2 to sunny Cancun, Mexico. Must use participating hotels. If you're one of the first 10 callers at 1-800-775-TRIP. That's 1-800-775-TRIP.
There are times when we all need help with a problem. Trained telephone counselors are available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day at the Macomb County Crisis Center to help you sort out problems. If you need immediate confidential help, call 573-2200.
I pledge allegiance to myself and who I want to be.
I want to be a teacher.
Because I can make my dreams come true if I believe in me.
I'm going to be the president.
I promise to stay in school and learn the things I need to know.
I want to be an actress.
To make the world a better place for kids like me to grow.
I promise to keep my dreams alive and be all I can be.
I know I can, and that's because I pledge to stay drug-free.
Love yourself. Stay drug-free.
At Long John Silver, they got glasses. 69 cents is all. One fish glasses. Get them both big fish and small. You better go fish. The reason is clear. At Long John Silver, fine fish glasses are here.
Something outrageous is happening to hair. Outrageous shampoos and conditioners. Outrageous body. Outrageous shine. Outrageously beautiful hair. Outrageous shampoos and conditioners from Revlon.
On the line with us this morning is it's Marcello Truzzi, a sociologist of alien abduction theories. What do you think of all this?
Well, of course, it's a fascinating human experience, but ultimately we have to distinguish between authenticity, which therapists are mainly interested in, that is the sincerity of their patients, and the question of scientific validity of what's being claimed. And Dr. Mack, I think, is correct in assuming authenticity. I think these people are sincere. I think the real question is whether it objectively happened.
All right, pick it apart.
Well, I mean, first of all, most important, in terms of scientific rules of the game, extraordinary claims do require commensurate, very heavy proof. And I don't think that's offered by Dr. Mack. I think that counter-explanations, in particular, sleep paralysis, is probably the most commonly cited alternative explanation for many of these cases, which is notably missing in the index to Dr. Mack's book. You know, the problem is the burden of proof is really upon Dr. Mack if he wishes to make a scientific case for this, and I think he has not borne the burden of that proof.
How do you account for what the implant in David's mouth, and the healing process in 5 days?
There are a great number of details in all of these cases which have to be looked at very, very carefully individually. It's impossible for me at this distance to take that at anything but face value, but at the same time, what I might personally be inclined to believe is very different than what constitutes scientific knowledge, which has to be checked out.
Professor Truzzi, I'm the other co-host here on the phone. We've got a colleague of yours in the audience, Ron Westrum, and Ron has another idea. You do believe, do you not, Ron?
Well, I think it's very difficult to deny that we have a very complex phenomenon here, and sleep paralysis doesn't begin to explain the kinds of things which we see.
You're a little skeptical about the abduction part, but the sightings, or you believe in the abductions also? You've had an experience?
No, I haven't had an experience, and I think the abduction stuff, as far as I can tell, is real. As far as I can tell, in fact, we just don't have another good hypothesis. And while I respect Dr. Truzzi, the complexity of the evidence is really very strong. We have a pattern here, and it's not easily explained by any of these simple explanations, like fantasy-prone people or sleep paralysis. These things really just don't match up with the kind of evidence that we've got.
Do you and Professor Truzzi discuss this at length at Eastern?
Constantly.
I think Professor Truzzi's got another person there, a couple of dogs, right? Hello. Marcello, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am. With dogs, I'm
With dogs, yeah. Well, I understand. That sounds like my house. Tell me something. Do you believe in UFOs?
Can I what?
Do you believe in UFOs?
Oh, my goodness, someone comes to the door. That's why they were barking.
Oh, okay.
Let me change phones. I don't know if I can really do.
All right, look, we'll get back to you a little later, okay? We'll get back to you. Okay, Dr. Mack, do you want to respond to him?
let me try to say what I think is the problem in this discussion, okay? For people like Professor Truzzi, whom I know and respect a great deal, science becomes one of those magical words, okay? Science means something very specific. It means that for something to be real, it has to be demonstrated as existing in this physical reality and only in this physical reality. In other words, the only thing that exists is that which you can prove by, say, having a dinner plate off of a UFO, or showing that this implant is, that Dave has comes from some kind of strange source which has strange, odd combinations of metals in it. What his approach discounts is the evidence of consciousness. In other words, what we decide is real, after all, is a matter of what we agree upon. So that if people are having very powerful experiences, and if those experiences coincide among hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people, then how can this not be real? In other words, it may not be real in terms of the box of the material world in the framework that Professor Truzzi would like to restrict reality to. But it is real in another sense. In other words, it is real, possibly, as Dave mentioned earlier, in another dimension, which enters our dimension. Now, we have to open our minds to, I'm not saying we should open our minds, but if we're going to grasp this thing, it seems to me it requires of us that we open up our minds, because these beings may come quite subtly from another dimension, entering into our world, manifesting physically, doing the things these two gentlemen on my right and left have talked about, but that doesn't mean it entirely is of this world or is going to yield its secrets to the methods of the material scientific approach. So if we restrict our thinking to that requirement of proof, then it seems to me we are avoiding possibly the very invitation, the very lesson that this phenomenon is asking us to grasp. That is, to open ourselves to realities beyond the one to which we've been restricted. So it requires a complex discussion to get into this deeply.
Okay. Please stay with us, Dr. Mack, Bill, and David. We'll be right back.